Hey everybody, again this is Mrs. Langham posting on behalf of Uvalde Classical Academy for our 6th grade class, Writing and Rhetoric. We're in book 6 and we're continuing our discussion of For Politeness. Remember, this is in lesson 10 and we're going to be beginning today on page 188. So we were challenged in the last lesson to look at how this excerpt from Pride and Prejudice actually talks about a situation of them being polite. Remember, in our last lesson, we talked about dancing rules of politeness and then how you should eat and how you should behave at the table and all of those. So we were challenged to read this section and to discuss about how they were able to implement those ideas of being polite. So let's read the excerpt and then we'll get our discussion going. Okay, here we go. The Dance, adapted from Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Elizabeth Bennet had been obliged by the scarcity of gentlemen to sit down for 2 dances. During part of that time Mr. Darcy had been standing near enough for her to hear a conversation between him and Mr. Bingley, who had come from the dance for a few minutes to press his friend to join it. "Come, Darcy," said he, "I must have you dance. I hate to see you standing about by yourself in this stupid manner. You had better dance." "I certainly shall not. You know how I detest it, unless I'm particularly acquainted with my partner. And at such an assembly as this it would be unbearable. Your sisters are engaged, and there's not another woman in the room whom it would not be a punishment for me to stand up with." "I would not be so fussy as you are," cried Mr. Bingley, "for a kingdom. Upon my honor, I have never met so many pleasant girls in my life as I have this evening, and there are several of them you see uncommonly pretty." "You are dancing with the only handsome girl in the room," said Mr. Darcy, looking at the eldest Miss Bennet. "Oh, she is the most beautiful creature I ever beheld. But there is one of her sisters sitting just behind you who is very pretty, and I dare say very agreeable. Do let me ask my partner to introduce you." "Which do you mean?" And turning around, he looked for a moment at Elizabeth, till catching her eye, he withdrew his own and coldly said, "She's tolerable, but not handsome enough to tempt me. I am in no humor at present to give value to young ladies who are slighted by other men. You had better return to your partner and enjoy her smiles, for you are wasting your time with me." Mr. Bingley followed his advice. Mr. Darcy walked off, and Elizabeth remained with no very cordial feelings towards him. All right, so I don't think that this Mr. Darcy was being very polite in this situation. What do you think? Okay, so if you look at page 188 in your book, you're going to see a whole lot of different ideas that are here. I want you to go through and pick 3 words from this little excerpt from Pride and Prejudice that you would like to use in your own commonplace essay. So get your pencil out or your highlighter, circle or highlight those words within that little section. I want you to read the tell it back narration, and I want you to find a sibling or a family member that you can retell this story of the politeness gone wrong at a dance, because now that we're doing homeschool with everybody, you need to use your siblings as your sounding board. And so pause this video, get them involved, and you can tell them the story of Mr. Darcy and Miss Bennet and Mr. Bingley. So take a second, do that. And now we're back. Woohoo! All right, so if you keep reading on page 188, it's going to ask you a few questions. It's going to say, what is the importance of politeness? Why do you think it's important to be polite? Do people need to know that you're a nice person? Do people need to trust you? The next one is, what is the difference between politeness and etiquette? Remember how I told you needed to go back and highlight that sentence? That's going to help you. If you keep going, you're going to answer a few questions. I want you to underline the main idea of all of the stories, then go through and put question marks in the margins of any parts of the story you didn't understand, and then, of course, circle any unfamiliar vocabulary words, and then go ahead on page 189. You're going to be answering the questions. Remember, you need to write in cursive. You need to write legibly. That means someone other than you can read it. I have to be able to understand what you're saying. You can't write in glitter. You can't write in highlighter, and if you're going to write in pencil, it needs to be dark. If you're going to write in pen, it needs to be neat. None of this like scribbly business, okay? You can do this. I believe in you. All right, so you're going to go to page 189, and you're going to go ahead and do the talk about it, do the memoria, do the go deeper, and go ahead and answer those questions. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. This was a short video, and I look forward to our next distance learning with you Uvalde Classical 6th graders. We'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.